Hello and welcome from Barcelona with Luis García and Fernando Palomo. We're previewing this Clasico on Sunday that could dictate the future of La Liga, with Barcelona 9 points ahead of Real Madrid going in. Also knowing Barcelona that they will not have Pedri in the squad, as he has not been able to recover from the injury that's kept him away for the past couple of weeks. Luis, that's a big absence when it comes to thinking about what Xavi wants on the field. His most spectacular show this season has been in Riyadh for the Super Cup final, with Pedri conducting that middle of the field with the four midfielders without him. What can we expect?
Well, actually, he was trying to have him for the weekend to play against El Clasico, but he fell a little bit, so he didn't want to risk him. And of course, it's a massive blow for Barcelona because everybody was expecting to bring back Pedri in the middle of the park. That is a player who give that pause. He's got that understanding of football when he's on the ball to speed it up the game or slow it down depending on what the team needs. And it's a massive concept for Barcelona, because we've seen that in the last few games, even though they continue getting the points, that they continue playing well, but they struggle sometimes on the build-up and also in the last few minutes of the game.
We're going to see Xavi. It's another one of the youngsters that Barcelona provides this season in his squad. One youngster that's shined not only in club football, but also with the national team. Now, Pedri and Xavi are forming a marvelous partnership. Of course, we're going to miss them tomorrow. We're going to see Xavi. What can he provide on the field?
Well, first of all, I think the fight. I think that's something, that character that he's got and put in every single game, every single minute we see him trying to clear balls with his head on the grass, and that's something that is spectacular to see. Even that is a little bit dangerous.
Carlos Puyol tweeted about that,
Exactly.
And we know that Carlos Puyol was a man that rather put his head than his foot when it came to fighting for a ball.
Exactly. That's something that Xavi is going to provide, and it's also very important. We need leaderships in this team, players who can show that character that is needed to win trophies. And much more than that, he's going to provide that quality technique. And now he's arriving to the last year, arriving into the box, something that Xavi has been working with him a lot. We don't know if he's going to play wide open, because we've seen him sometimes playing there, dropping down to try to help him be in advantage in the middle of the field, or just keeping in the middle with Frankie de Jong, with Busquets.
Now, when we talk about Pedri and Xavi, and listening to you, I was thinking there's a lot of comparisons when it comes to those players and diminutive, small, minuscule, size-wise players like Andres Iniesta
little players,
and Xavi,
yeah.
but big players when it came to technique and football intelligence. Is that aggressiveness on Xavi the one that dictates the difference when it comes to comparing these two?
Yeah, I think
there's two with the past two players that we're talking about, Iniesta and Xavi.
Exactly. I think that if you see them both are same size, more or less, the same on the field, technically probably Pedri is a little bit more, it's a little bit better, if we can call it this way, but definitely the biggest one, the one who actually you can say that is the most difference, that they can difference between the two of them, is that aggressiveness. We've seen Xavi just fighting to players. They are trying his eyes, and when he's on the ball every single time, it's about tackling and fighting, and that's something that Pedri doesn't provide because he doesn't need. He always thinks a little bit ahead of the game, so he doesn't get involved in those.
We're going to wrap this one up, but I have to ask you this. You played with Xavi and Iniesta. They were a little bit older than Pedri is right now. Is it comparable to Pedri now to either Xavi or Iniesta back then? How does he compare?
I'm not a big fan of comparing people or comparing players, because they are different times, different football, different teams. They are surrounded by different players, but definitely when you look at them when they play, of course you can compare them. I think when Iniesta was at that age, he wasn't at the level of Pedri.
He was getting less playing time as well.
Exactly. I had the chance of playing with Iniesta. When he was arriving to the first team, he wasn't getting that much time on the field. And people likes to compare and everything. But if we think that maybe in 2, 3, 4 years we can see that kind of comparison between the two of them, why not? Because definitely they are the same style of player. They provide the same. They give the same to the team. So let's see what they can manage to achieve. But Pedri and Xavi, definitely, they are a fantastic partnership.
With regards to Pedri, Xavi today during the press conference said this is not a final. He went on to contextualize that phrase and said it's not a grand final. it is an important game, but we're not going to risk him as we have more games to play. And then one of those games to be played is the return leg of the semifinals in the Copa del Rey, where Barcelona holds a 1-0 lead against none other than Real Madrid.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.